Hello, everybody. Okay, so we're dealing with yet another dangerous topic, and this is really dangerous. However, now children may look at it, and our young adults may look at it and would say, you know what, how dare she? How can we be the reason or the cause for hurt in the home? Well, let's carefully understand it, and we're not going to be too long on this, but prayerfully and hopefully that we would get to the heart of the matter as quickly as possible, and that you would begin to understand and see your role in it. Now, we've been dealing with narcissistic behavior, we've been dealing with toxic people, and we now come to an important thing that we tend to speak about, but without the truth ever being known. We may describe an individual or maybe a sibling in your home, and you would talk about, oh my God, if only you knew, if you were there and saw it, you know, the amount of hiding that she used to get or he used to get from the mom or the dad or whatever, from the dad generally. If only you were there and but you see, there's two sides to a story, and this is why I say when children are intentionally the reason for hurt in the home. Now, what we do not understand and what children need to accept and start learning to grow up and mature and see their role in it, this is something that is always overlooked, is that the behavior of children can be the little lighter that is needed to ignite a fire. That one little spark. Now, I want you to picture this. You're kind of sitting there as a kid, a teenager, or even, a little bit older than that. And you have a father that is busy walking about and really incredibly busy. And he may be mowing the lawn or cleaning up the garden or something like that. It doesn't matter whether you're a girl or a boy, because we do chores. It's in our nature to do it. I would reference the Bible and say, well, we were made to toil the land and, so to speak, and do all those things. But what happens is that in that frustration of trying to get things done, and there's so much that needs to be, you can't just, you're mowing the lawn and then you're trying to dig up the bed and turn the soil and pull out the weeds, and you kind of like trying to do it all, and you find that as you walk in to get a glass of water which is not coming to you, you see this child sitting there and doing nothing. In the frustration, it may come out wrong. However, the cry is still the same. Help me. Why don't you get off your lazy behind and come and help me? But what is the cry? Help me. Come and get involved. The reaction of the child is to smirk and say, well, no one asked you to do it. Why didn't you get somebody, pay them to do it? Or I don't want to. Or they may just ignore the parent. What happens is suddenly there's this explosion of anger and frustration. So much so that getting to a fight, the child would get a good old beating. The frustration may extend to, if there's company or whatever. Now, we may overlook this, but children play a huge role in this, especially when it comes to um, domestic violence, and that frustration is taken out on a mother. What we don't understand is that the behavior or the obedience or disobedience of a child results in this. We cannot sit back and accept and say the parent shouldn't have been taking out the frustration on the child, or they shouldn't have been this. It's how we train up our children. A huge thing that plays a significant role in society is character. And that comes from being obedient or disobedient. And the first place that you learn this and the training ground happens in the home. When a child is deliberate, and we find it in our society, you take a walk in wherever, even in the built up affluent areas as well, it's the same problem. The back chatting of children, the arrogance. I don't need to if I don't want to. You can't tell me what to do. But it gets more intense. It's when they themselves turn and become cruel. The swearing of children, the swearing that comes out of the mouths of children directed at their parents. When a child, male or female, girl or boy, can swear their adult father, the one that's providing for them, the one that's putting food on the table, the one that's given them a home with a garden, see, these are the sides of the stories that never really truly come out, but we're led to believe a lot of things. And that's why understanding the picture in totality is a crucial thing. What happens when a person is so natured, when a child, a teenager is so natured? They become responsible for the beating that their mothers receive. They become responsible for the beatings their siblings receive. Because truth be told, no one in society, you will find this. We try to make it a massive thing in the home. Respect, disrespect. However, in our workplaces, it's an intolerable thing. It's unaccepted. Now, what makes the work environment more important than the home environment, when they're supposed to be on par, balanced? Because you are who you are first in your home, and then you become an extension of that in your workplace. If you are rude, arrogant, disrespectful, disobedient, it's going to be carried into your workplace, and it's going to be more enforced. See, because you have this in your mindset that nobody at work can lay a hand on me, whereas at home, well, that's my dad, and given the right reasons and whatever. Let's face it, this is something that happens. However, training and disciplining a child is not the same as somebody getting drunk, or somebody, a parent being in that place where they just beat a child to death for no reason. There always is a reason. In this situation, where violence happens in a home and a child is responsible for it, there has to be an acceptance of it, a growing up of it, an ownership of it, because obedience and disobedience is something that is required by every single person in this world. Respect and disrespect is something that is looked upon, analyzed, and studied by every single person in the home. Do you think if you possess qualities of being disobedient and disrespectful that you would even think about you would able to get a job working with any president in the country, any leader in the country? Attitude. If you're told to wash up the dishes and you turn around and you swear your mother, do you think your father's not going to react? Do you think maybe an older brother or sister is not going to react? If you're told to take out the garbage and you turn around and you swear your parents and say, well, do it yourself, no one asked you to, create so much of dirt and stuff like that. See, we try to downplay the attitude, the character, the words spoken by the child, because we have this thing about trying to nurture and protect them. However, we've got to see it in its entirety. And this is where the teaching comes in, not hurting you guys, not criticizing you, but hoping that you would mature, hoping that you would be different as children, and to see that you are sometimes the reason, most times, for your mothers walking around being battered and beaten, because your father is trying to do the best. A little help would go a long way. When parents are angry with you, a little help would go a long way. See, I've watched this, what it does when the one child is spoken to and says, hang on, come and help me with this. Yes, sir. No, sir. You get up and you do it. The job is done quickly. Her parents are happy. They're actually sitting, having a conversation. You're sitting as a family. It's a warm, happy environment. Father tells the other one, come and help me with this. You effing do this yourself. Don't effing think that I'm going to get in there and effing. And what happens? We start with that whole tirade. You're living as long as you're living under my roof, and it goes on and goes, and then it gets really. But you see that every time the father says these things, the child is responding and doing what? Provoking. Stirring up. The mother would get involved. You got to listen to your dad. The child would turn on the mother. What happens? She may even try and step in and say, you know what, just hang on. And try to protect the child, and the frustration builds up. How we look at these things is truly the most important. But really out there, children, when children are intentionally the reason for hurt in the home, it's time for them to sit up and take responsibility for the hurt, for the damage, for the violence that is inflicted on their mothers, on their siblings, even on themselves. It's so easy. When a parent speaks, so easy to just say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, get up, get it done. 5 minutes later, both of you are happy. The whole house is happy. But the moment attitude creeps in, you may walk around thinking that you are hated by your parents, but you've given them reason to be upset with you. You grow up raging at them, not wanting to accept that you put them in that place of looking at you and looking at you with eyes that don't see a kind-hearted child, a disciplined child, an obedient child, a respectful child, a willing to help child, a mature child. If you can't help in your home, it is impossible for you to help out there in society, even in your work environment. You would always want somebody else to do it. And of course, you would sit back and try to get the glory for yourself. No parent is just going to run around, walk past a child and hit a child for no reason. No mother is going to defend a child without a reason or a cause to defend the child, and thereby bringing on themselves that discipline or that anger, that frustration. When our children accept that sometimes the scars our parents wear is because of them, and that's when society will change and they will learn to be mature. Different-minded, obedient, willing to help, respectful children. Going around and teaching them, you don't have to if you don't want to. You don't have to make your bed if you don't want to. It's okay, your mother will be your slave. You don't have to if you don't want to. Your father will just do all the chores for you. You can just sit there and think that you're going to sail through life. You go to work, you don't have to if you don't want to. And then you wonder why you are never promoted. Why you never get any praise, any accolades coming your way. So you don't want to, you don't have to, you didn't want to. You showed us that you didn't want to. Why should we acknowledge you? Why should we praise you? How we behave, how we respond as children determines the state of a home. It can be a happy, healthy home, or we can add to a lot of the problems until it's totally out of control. I pray as children that you would heed the lesson. Take responsibility if you've been instrumental in bringing about these reactions. See how best you can change. But if you have been abused in a different way, in all of the ways that lend value and truth to the word abuse, that's a different state. But if you're a foul-mouthed, mealy-mouthed kind of person that you can swear your parents, it's no wonder we have such a dysfunctional society. And look at our schools. It tells us what we really, really want to know about a child, about behavior, and what their home life is like. Bye, everybody.